hi, namaste, assalamu alaikum, sat sri akal, vanakkam, kem cho, sulimelu, namaskaram, adab, and a very warm greeting of the day to you all. Here we are after quite a long time for a lengthy video, a full-length video. Here is a disclaimer before we start the video. This video is going to be lengthy, at least for 20 to 25 minutes long. So here is my quick advice to you. Here is a disclaimer. You can go to the description box, and in the description box you'll find a timeline of the video. You can just click onto it and you can go to that specific part of the video. But still, I would kindly request you to watch the entire video, even if it's at 1.5x or 2x speed, because every second, every minute of this video is going to be truly beneficial. Akkarmashi by Sharan Kumar Limbale, a very thought-provoking novel which I came across. This is a part of the BSc second year NEP syllabus of Mangalore University. In today's video, we will be discussing the background of Dalit literature, we will be discussing the summary of this novel and outline the characters involved in the novel. This being an autobiographical writing, which means the author has penned down his own life experiences. In this book, we will look into the background of the author, the community he comes from, and what are the atrocities faced by Dalits in India. Only when a person who comes from a specific background, from a specific community, if he speaks about his community, only then will we get the true picture of that community. Imagine you want to write about a woman's suffering. Who would explain it better? A woman who has suffered it or a man who has witnessed it? Definitely a woman who has suffered it, right? So in this book, Akkarmashi, the Outcaste by Sharan Kumar Limbale, he being a Dalit himself, since his birth till the very moment he had penned down this book, he is a Dalit even to this very date. But the experience in this book is of 25 to 26 years, because the author was 25 years old when he wrote this novel. And coming out from a Dalit community, the author has given a very painful picture of the situations, the circumstances faced by Dalit in Indian society. Background study is very important before you start to read any piece of work, may it be a poetry or a prose or a short story, a novel, and especially an autobiography. Knowing the background of a person, knowing the background of a specific genre of literature helps us to connect to that literature, to that piece of work a little more, okay? If you do not know the background and you start reading it abruptly, you may not get the true essence of a work. First and foremost, Dalit literature in itself is a very powerful genre in English literature, especially in Indian English literature. What is Dalit literature? Dalit literature is a genre of Indian writing that focuses on the lives, experiences and struggles of the Dalit community who have faced caste-based oppression and discrimination for centuries. This literature encompasses various Indian languages such as Marathi, Bangla, Hindi, Kannada, Punjabi, Sindhi, Odia and Tamil, and includes diverse narratives like poems, short stories, autobiographical writings, etc. The genre originated in response to the caste-based social injustice in mid-20th century independent India and has since spread across various Indian languages, critiquing caste practices and experimenting with different literary forms. Prominent works within the Dalit literature flourished during the colonial and post-colonial period. Jyotirao Phule's work Gulamgiri, published in 1873, being a seminal work highlighting the plight of the untouchables in India. Numerous authors such as Namdev Dhasal, Sharan Kumar Limbale, Bama, they have penned down their life histories and they have given that side, they have displayed that picture of the Dalit community which we otherwise wouldn't know. And autobiographical narratives form a significant part of the Dalit literature. Some of the prominent Dalit autobiographies are Om Prakash Valmiki's Jhutan, A Dalit's Life, Lakshman Mane's Upara, Bama's Karukku, Narendra Jadav's Outcaste, A Memoir, and Sharan Kumar Limbale's The Outcaste, etc. Most of these narratives are tales of personal sufferings of the Dalit writers fused with their interpersonal response and community feelings which they experience in a Hindu society. The next important background topic is Dalit Panthers. Now, Sharan Kumar Limbale, when he graduated, when he was in his college studies, he was highly influenced by the idea of Dalit Panthers. And he started to rebel, he started to resist the practices, the humiliation faced by Dalit in his own village. So what this Dalit Panthers is? Dalit Panthers is a social organization that seeks to combat caste discrimination. It was led by a group of Mahar writers and poets, including Raja Dhale, Namdeo Dhasal, and J.V. Pawar in some time between the second and third semester of 1972. The movement's heyday lasted from 1970s through the 1980s, and it was later joined by many Dalit Buddhist activists. Here is an interesting fact. The Dalit Panthers were highly influenced by the Black Panther Society. What is Black Panthers? Black Panthers is a community, a group of individuals who fought against the racial discrimination faced by Afro-Americans in America. Now, this is like two faces of a coin, two sides of a coin. The racial discrimination faced by black people in Africa and the caste discrimination faced by Dalits in India is quite similar. Just because they are black in color, they are treated very badly. And Dalits, just because they are born to that specific caste, though Indian constitution prohibits the practice of caste discrimination, it is still prevalent. Just because they are born as Dalits, they are treated in such a matter of humiliation. Now, Sharan Kumar Limbale belonged to the Mahar community. And knowing the background of Mahar community is quite interesting. It's quite intriguing. Here is it. Historically, Mahar had the role of defending village borders from outsiders, invading tribes, and protecting villages from criminals and thieves. They were also responsible for maintaining law and order throughout the village in the capacity of administrators. In the Baluta system, apart from many traditional duties such as village watchman, messenger, wall mender, educator of boundary disputes, street sweeper and remover of carcasses, the Mahar were assigned work of removing dead cows from the village. The community also started eating the flesh of those dead cows which died naturally, and many instances of this is mentioned in the novel where the community of Mahars, they eated the flesh of dead cows. And why am I highlighting this point is because the eating of beef formed the basis of the caste being treated as untouchables. In the past, in the history, and even to this date, after many generations have passed by, the Mahars are still treated as untouchables or Dalits. The Mahars are considered as the original inhabitants of Maharashtra, and they are also known as Kathivale. Have you heard that song? Lakdi ki kaati, kaati pe ghoda, ghode ke dum pe jo mara hatoda. Kathi being stick, okay? Kathivale means men with the stick. Bhumi Putera, sons of the soil, and Mirasi or landlords. The Mahar were unified by the eminent 20th century leader Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, B.R. Ambedkar, who urged them to militant political consciousness and to great educational improvement. Before his death in 1956, Ambedkar and hundreds of thousands of the Mahar's followers converted to Buddhism in protest against their Hindu caste system. Dalit literature has also been instrumental in bringing out the idea of Dalit feminism. Now there is the idea of marginalization, which means you are being marginalized, you are being ostracized or filtered from a specific part of the society. Dalit women were thrice marginalized. One of my amazing professors in masters during my master's literature had explained this idea of thrice marginalization. Let me try to explain it to you. What is thrice marginalization? Please don't think that this is an unnecessary discussion, because whatever the pointers that I'm leaving you with, whatever the ruptured dots that I'm leaving you with, it will eventually connect at the end of this video, or by the time you read the summary of this novel, these pointers will help you to elaborate your answers, and these points will help you to understand the intricacies, understand the beyond the lines concept of this novel better. Thrice marginalization on the basis of caste, class and gender. Imagine a filter. You are a normal human being, and then there is the idea of caste. There is a caste filter. Everyone is let down, everyone is let to do their duties very normally, but the caste filter keeps the Dalits there. The caste filter holds them there. And then there is class. Okay, do you come out of it? The class, because majority of the Dalits are poor. They do not have enough materialistic possessions, and we come across instances of this in this very novel. Sharan Kumar Limbale had a huge family, and they were so badly poor. That they couldn't even afford one-time meal a day. They couldn't afford one-time food a day. There were days when they used to go to sleep with an empty stomach. And we will discuss the idea of hunger elaborately a little later on in this part of the video. Please do listen to it, because the pain that Sharan Kumar Limbale has expressed literally touches everyone. Caste, class, okay, they are poor, and then comes gender, okay, Dalit feminism, then comes gender. You are marginalized on the basis of caste, on the basis of class, and later on you are a woman. Okay, a woman, you're again marginalized being a woman. Now imagine there is a male and a female, and India is a patriarchal society, right? It's a male dominated society. So the idea of Dalit feminism is Dalit woman is thrice marginalized. And Sharan Kumar Limbale has brought out this idea of thrice marginalized through his characters, Santamai and Masamai. Okay, they are not characters, they are real life characters. His mother is Masamai and his grandmother is Santamai. And through their characters, Sharan Kumar Limbale has expressed how Dalit women were thrice marginalized from the society. The next thing that we need to keep in mind is the title. Why is the title so important? What does Akkarmashi mean? Akkarmashi, in the English translation version by Oxford University, they have mentioned it as the outcast. Okay, Akkarmashi is a Marathi word which means a person whose birth is illegitimate, or one who is an outcast, impure and incomplete, or half caste. Sharan Kumar Limbale is a half caste. Okay, this is very important because his mother was a Mahar, a Dalit, an untouchable. Okay, and this idea always pricks me whenever I read some autobiographies, some short stories from Dalit literature. They are always treated as untouchables. Okay, recently I had read Bama's Karuku, and she had mentioned how like the Dalits, even to this state, the upper caste people do not even touch them, right? They do not touch them. Sharan Kumar Limbale's mother, let me come back to the point, she was an untouchable, she was a Dalit. But the Patil, okay, Sharan Kumar Limbale's father and many other Patils, they used Dalit women to fulfill their desires. Can you have sexual intercourse without touching them? This shows the hypocrisy. This shows the idea of treating them as untouchables, but also satisfying your lust, satisfying a person's physical desires through a woman, right? Basically, they are just piece of flesh, and they do not hesitate to exploit those women. They do not hesitate to fulfill their lust. But when they come on to the outside, when they come to the outside world, they treat them as untouchables. Basically, Sharan Kumar Limbale's mother is a Dalit and his father is a Patil, an higher caste person, a lower caste person, an untouchable. Now, since he's born out of them, there is a quest of identity. He doesn't know where does he belong. Mahar Community calls him Akkarmashi because his father is a high caste man. High caste people call him an untouchable because he is a Mahar. Now, why half caste? Father is from a privileged section of the society and mother is an untouchable. Father lives in a mansion and mother lives in a hut. Half caste. Akkarmashi. When I read this book, Akkarmashi, I felt ruptured. Okay, I was left in ruptured thoughts. Now, basically, these are my perspective. This is my perspective. Akkarmashi is nothing but a compilation of incidents from the life of the author. Since it's an autobiography, these incidents have happened in real life. Okay, the author has experienced all these incidents. Basically, Akkarmashi, throughout the entire novel, you will find hundreds of incidents which throw light on the atrocities faced by Dalits in Indian society. I felt that this novel was quite abrupt. Maybe the reason is because this is a translated version, right? And always remember, students, please do always remember, whenever a book is translated from the original language, the original content, the original emotions are somewhere or the other left behind. Okay, the translator Santosh Bhumkar has done a brilliant job, and this has been published by Oxford India Paperbacks, Oxford Press. So it isn't a small deal. It's quite a big achievement. But still, personally, I felt that this was a little abrupt because sometimes you do not feel the continuity, you do not feel the connectedness of different events. Out of nowhere, the author is expressing one incident, and somewhere out of the blue, another incident is continued. But still, it's. I would suggest you, if you know Marathi, I do not. If you know Marathi, please read the original version once. And this is the beauty of English language, okay? English is a universal language. Whenever a book, a writing, a voice from a rural, a native language is translated into English, it helps you reach to a global audience. Now, if this was in Marathi, I wouldn't ever read it. You wouldn't ever study it if it wasn't ever translated. Now that it has been translated into English language, I can read it, I can explain it, you can read it. And this is the beauty of English language. It acts as a window onto the world where emotions, atrocities, feelings, experiences can be conveyed to a bigger audience, to a global audience. And let me tell you one thing, students, I may fail to convey the entire novel to you because it isn't possible. Unless and until you read the book, you cannot understand it completely, because there is the idea of reading through the lines, reading in between the lines, and reading beyond the lines. Only when you read a novel, you can read beyond the lines. Also, I tried making it a little humorous, but trust me, this novel cannot be humorous because it's a very painful reality that I'm explaining to you, that you read, that the author has explained. Let me explain this better with this essay of Dalit literature and aesthetics. Please don't skip this part because this is very important. This essay is written by Sharan Kumar Limbale and it is considered as one of the very important essays of Dalit literature, one of the milestones in Dalit literature. And initially, I will explain it for a minute or two, not more than that. Initially, he explains different concepts in this essay. Concept number one, he's questioning, Sharan Kumar Limbale is questioning, and then he gives the answer. That to be a Dalit writer, you should be born as a Dalit. Okay? This is Sharan Kumar's argument. As I stated initially, only a person who has experienced certain aspects can explain it, can convey it more powerfully, can convey it better than others. And concept number two is yardstick for measuring any literature is pleasure driven. Okay, whenever we look into any literature as a milestone, that's more basically of a pleasure driven literature. But Sharan Kumar Limbale argues that Dalit literature is driven by pain and not by pleasure. And when you consider this benchmark, Dalit literature is also very prominent amidst the different genres of literature. Giving extraordinary pleasure is considered as an artistic value. Why not extraordinary pain to be recognized artistic value? Now let us go through the introduction of the author Sharan Kumar Limbale. Sharan Kumar Limbale was born on June 1st, 1956. He is a Marathi language author, poet and literary critic. He has penned more than 40 books, and his best known work is his autobiography Akkarmashi, which was published in 1984. Translated into several other Indian languages, English translation is published by Oxford University Press by the title The Outcaste. Names of other books published by Sharan Kumar Limbale are these: Jhund, Dangal, Dalit Atmakatha Ek Akalan, Dalit Brahman. See how interesting this is. Maybe this is an oxymoron. Dalit Brahman, Dalit Panther, Dalit Prem Kavita, or Dalit Love Poems, Dalit Sahitya Ani Saundarya, Dalit Literature and Beauty, Dalit Sahitya Che Saundarya Shastra, the aesthetics of Dalit literature that we just discussed. Punha Akkarmashi, Akkarmashi returns. Punha Akkarmashi. Prajna Surya, biography of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Now the translator Santosh Bhumkar, in his translator note in the initial pages of this book, has said that Sharan Kumar Limbale kept revising his book, and he also sent the revised version, that is Punha Akkarmashi, but the translator denied to translate it. I mean, he requested the author not to translate that version but the original version, because a lot of things were changed, names were changed initially, and then this translation is the first published version of the actual Akkarmashi. The protagonist of this autobiography is, okay, since this is an autobiography, definitely the author will be the protagonist, Yasin. Okay, Sharan Kumar Limbale is the protagonist. He is called as Sharan throughout the novel, and this is a first person narrative. Okay, the author, he himself is narrating the entire incidents throughout the novel. I got so carried away with emotions that this video seems too long, and I do not want to stretch this video longer. In the next video, now that we have discussed all the background details and all the necessary stuff, in the next video we will directly jump on to the summary of this novel, and we will we will throw light on some of the important pointers that you need to remember throughout the novel, the themes of this novel, and the ideas that need to be discussed. In the next video, we will keep it exam precise. It will be on point without arbitrating in and around. Thank you so much for staying by till the end of this video. Until next time, students, keep smiling, keep learning.